Welcome, friends. Thank you for joining us. My name is Joel, and this is the O2 Drop. This is WA's VGC podcast, coming from Perth, home of Australia's smallest regional championships. Today, I'm joined by my friends Dan.
Hello.
Ethan.
I love you, Joel.
I love you too, Ethan. And we have a special guest today. This person actually needs no introduction, but we will give it anyway. The spiritual father of VGC in WA, Drax.
Hello, Ma.
Cute Arceus theme song.
I don't have it loaded. How are we, Drax?
Good.
Pretty good? Surviving?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
One event at a time.
One event at a time. That's the way we do it here.
After this episode, we'll see.
So Drax, we will go through our standard questions for guests. You've been around Pokemon for 3 decades. Effectively, in 3 decades, to be specific. How did you get involved, or how did you come across Pokemon?
So it was one of my neighbors who actually gave me a Game Boy. My next door neighbor gave me a Game Boy and a copy of Pokemon. I think it was Green, Japanese
Nice.
copy of Green with a couple of things. I got as far as Mount Moon, and that was it. The language barrier was too high.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until a few years later where I got given a copy of Red and Silver from a primary school mate who he felt like he was too cool for Pokemon.
Oh, that's impossible.
Yeah. And it just kind of went from there.
So a true OG to the Pokemon franchise. How did you get involved in competitive?
Okay, so in high school, I had a very close friend of mine, Blake Moretti, who would just come up with he'd give me matches in Pokemon, and he'd come up with the worst kind of jank, like level 1 Smeagol, level horrid things. And I heard from him that there was a bit of a scene for Pokemon. And I was like, well, if I can't beat you, what hope do I have against all of these super sweaty people?
Yeah.
I went to the 2007 Connection Tour hosted by Nintendo of Australia. Came nearly dead last both days. If I think
Was it double elim back then?
Yes, it was double elimination. Singles 3v3. There were no team sheets, so theoretically, I think it's 125 people, a tournament each day, and
Wow.
it was pretty intense.
In 2007.
That's correct. It was a month after Diamond and Pearl got released as well.
Wow, that would
So
not
there
have
was
been
a
enough time
grind.
for me.
Yeah, that was a grind, and I pretty much bombed out of that, and it wasn't until it was the 2009 Connection Tour where they actually released the Rotom secret key.
Yep.
And I rocked up there. I ran into Blake. I ran into a few others who played Pokemon, and I was like, you know what? These guys are kind of all right. I might actually.
We're a pretty
rock
chill
up.
group.
And I went from there.
Nice. Drax, for those who don't know, has been running events since 2008.
So no. So I joined in 2009.
Right? Yep.
Because I wasn't the best. I ran a lot of gimmicks.
Yep.
I basically essentially got thrown into being the one in charge of making the leaderboard and being the TO around about 2010.
Yep.
Where I pretty much ran half, if not majority, of the VG tournaments.
Yeah, because back in the day, once everything became official, quote unquote, when Nintendo gave everything to the Pokemon International Company, judges had to be endorsed back
That's
then.
correct.
and I was one of the first endorsed judges in Perth. And for some reason or another, I had to endorse you, even though you'd been involved in the community forever. We'd done plenty of events together outside of the official Pokemon. So I endorsed Daddy back in the day, and now he is effectively the top dog of WA. I answer to him now that I've come back to judging. So it's been a long time. We've known each other forever now. So what is your favorite game? We know that you started now with Green, which I think is going to be a unique answer for the life of this podcast.
I still feel really sad that like you couldn't get past Mount Moon. It's like it's dark, it's full of Zubats, it's in Japanese. You're like, I can't do anything.
Yeah.
What is your favorite game of the 9 generations that you have played?
So it was Platinum for the very longest time. It was always, because like it was the generation that I got into Pokemon, into VGC, into everything. So I had a very like close connection with that one. But over time, I feel like I've kind of like gone more towards X and Y and Auras.
Interesting.
The community itself in Gen 6 was at such a unique place. Like we had Pokemon Go, we had like there was a boom during that time. The PSS was amazing. Like the megas were amazing. Like it just felt fun, you know?
X and Y was the... Did you have it was like the speed training for EVs for the first time, right?
That's correct.
Oh, the fucking soccer min again.
That was so much fun.
Yes.
Yeah, that was peak. I respect that answer. I don't fully agree with it myself. But
Yeah,
I
I
respect
agree.
the hell out of it.
I feel like it would have Gen 6 would be higher for a lot of people if they actually put the Battle Frontier in or else.
If they were actually good games, there were things around
dare
them. Yeah, I know. Like the competitive scene was incredible in Gen 6. I agree with that. I think a lot of the features in there were fantastic. Mega Evolution was fantastic. The story and the pacing and a lot of the Pokemon were decidedly mid.
True.
But the breeding was so easy. You just put the coin underneath your 3DS joystick and went around.
Yep.
That's how I do it
Watch
too.
a bit of telly, watch a bit of YouTube. Yeah.
I think that's when because I started with Pearl, and I only started getting into competitive properly in X and Y, and that was just like put the 5-cent coin under, and you're like, oh wow, just find the route, go in circles, hatch 6 eggs, go back to the daycare.
Yeah, because you could do it like in like the main city in X and Y's, right? And just round and round you go.
Megas in Paris.
And in, I believe it's Auras, it was the battle like island or whatever that way where you have the battle facility and you can
go around and around. Yeah. It was good stuff.
Yeah, they knew.
They knew what we were doing. They knew. Okay, so before we get into story time with Drax, there is one thing that we are endeavoring to do with our guest speakers at the O2 drop, and that is to rebuild the type chart. Not to be more balanced, not to be competitively better, but to match real life lore. So this type chart is going to be horrendous, but we live for it.
That's right, ladies and gents. We're having a fun segment.
So those of us who have known Drax for a long time would recognize that he is the epitome of the gym leader Larry. And he has selected normal as his defensive type. So we're going to go through the type chart and nominate how normal should perform in real world as a type.
Right. Yes.
Let's get started. Normal versus normal.
Normal effective.
Normal.
Normally effective.
I mean, it's hard to argue with that.
Yep.
X1 on normal versus normal. Normal versus water.
This may be a hot take. I honestly think water should be not very effective against normal.
I like that. I was thinking neutral. Dan, want to weigh in on how normal should perform against water?
Being hit with water, I think it should be, I mean, if you want to make it an animal, you got amphibians, you have sea creatures, so average.
Average.
Effective.
I'm down with not very effective. Maybe even immune. Just fucking drink the water.
Just drink the water, bro. Okay, I want to throw a spanner.
Mhm.
Super effective.
Drowned.
And is effectively the spanner is what about when we're talking rogue waves, tsunamis,
Hoenn remakes.
Hoenn remakes.
It giveth, it taketh away.
It giveth, it taketh away. I am super down for not very effective, but I think extreme situations, neutral may be.
That's true. That's true. Not many things live the Terra Water Specs Kyogre.
Just fucking drink the water.
Just drink the tsunami. It's fine.
Okay, let's see if we can get a consensus on this. Ethan,
Mm-hmm.
what's your not very or normal effectiveness
For water,
for water? Again.
I'm sticking to my guns. Not very effective.
All right. Not very effective.
I said effective.
effective.
Yes.
I'm gonna lean into not very effective.
You just don't want it to be
Yeah,
a tie,
okay.
don't you?
Just drink the water.
Water. Normal versus fire.
Yeah, I'll super effective.
Super
Yeah.
effective. my hot take before we started recording was it has to be super effective because what normal thing survives fire?
Just eat the fire. It's
Just eat the fire.
not very
You're right.
effective.
You're right. Not very effective.
Ethan?
God damn it, Paguli. I'm going to stick with super effective because it makes the most realistic sense. Although I would eat the fire.
Because you're a man. Super effective?
All right.
Okay, normal versus grass. I am tempted to say immune.
Ooh.
Because normies touch grass.
Because no.
I like that because not to beat a dead horse, but eat the grass.
Yeah. My brain immediately went there.
Eat the grass.
Animals stand on it, they eat it like it does nothing.
Because we may want to lean into like allergies and such, but that's really poison.
Yes.
That's giving us allergies. It's not
Super
grass.
effective.
I have hay fever. It's the grass.
It's a new status, hay fever.
So normal will be immune against grass.
Honestly, if normal is just natural and nature, I think it's a very neutral relationship. I would just say effective, honestly.
Effective. Drax.
I'm happy with immune, honestly.
Dan.
I'll go with
Just
immune.
eat the
Immune.
grass.
Eat the grass.
Eat the grass.
Immune it is. Okay. Normal versus electric. Dead.
Yeah. Super effective.
Just all of those like danger electric signs. everywhere. Yeah. The electricity can't hurt me because I am Homer.
This sign is here because a lawsuit happened one time. Yeah.
I think by the logic of your fire kill animal, electricity should kill animal too.
I
so
think
super
I
effective.
think super effective is the call there.
Yep, agreed.
Okay. Normal versus ground.
Same as grass. Neutral. Nature.
Just eat the earthquake.
Just eat the dirt.
See, this is where it's interesting, right? Is like, is it the earthquake that kills people, or is it the steel and wood that they're surrounded by falling on top of them?
No. Guns don't kill people. It's earthquakes that kill people.
Pocket sand.
Yeah.
I mean, quicksand,
Mm-hmm.
Quicksand? Is that or
mudslide.
is that ground? Yeah, I mean, that's all those things.
Yeah.
You know, we stomp the ground as normal things. But the ground can definitely
The ground can stomp us.
The ground can stomp us very effectively.
The slow ravage of erosion.
Yes.
Yes.
I say
So-
it's super effective both ways. I know we're not going to attack, but both ways.
Both
Yep.
ways.
Yeah.
One way or another, something's going to give.
What are you leaning towards, Larry?
I'm honestly thinking
Larry.
I'm honestly thinking neutral, honestly.
Neutral?
Like, yeah. I'm gonna be boring here. Gonna be a boring Larry.
So we've got Ethan and Dan saying super effective.
Sure.
Super effective and then super effective like guns everywhere.
I'm leaning towards neutral as well. So we will go to our
Tiebreaker.
Tiebreaker.
Out in the audience.
Out in the audience. Sliv.
Video referee.
What's going on?
So based on real life law,
Mhm.
should normal take super effective or neutral damage from ground?
So, like, we're the normies, right?
Yes.
Ground hurt.
We should take super effective damage. Like, have you ever stacked it?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Gravity has definitely gotten me once or twice.
Mhm.
Can attend.
Unfortunately, there's no gravity type yet, so
Yeah.
we don't have that to lean
Well,
on.
it's
doesn't
ground
hurt
type, yeah.
people. Gravity
Ground
hurts.
type.
To lean against my goodness.
It's the mass type.
Gravity's actually psychic type.
It's stellar. Thank you. Okay, normal versus ice.
Oh, super effective against normal people. Like, have you? Like, I'm wearing like 2 layers right now.
Then
We're in a
we-
very
Put the aircon on
We
20
are
degrees.
Australian. If you've ever met a Canadian,
yeah, true. They're a different breed of people.
they are a different breed of people.
I love
I think
Canadians,
I
but-
think this applies to the fire logic.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mhm.
Very hot, kill normal. Very,
Very cold.
cold, kill normal.
Yeah.
True.
I'm
Pneumonia.
noticing a trend. Everything kill normal.
This
No,
is
no.
how it should be.
No, it's immune to grass.
Yeah, we're fine. We're fine.
Don't worry, we'll get there.
We haven't talked about the adult grass, but we're not going to.
No. Super effective.
It's super effective.
Gives you hay fever.
Okay, normal versus rock.
Something David versus Goliath.
Well,
Can you smell what the rock?
I think super effective unequivocally.
Mm.
But okay, so you're thinking boulders.
I'm
Right.
well. I'm thinking boulders. I'm
Mate.
thinking throwing stones. I'm thinking
Mate, stopping traffic with bricks, like
Mhm.
it's just
I don't know. You can just simply eat the rock.
oh my god.
Cannibalism.
We need him for the next we need him for movies.
Hey,
Yeah,
Kevin
we-
Hart's been feeding off him for a while, so
And he's still not growing. I like the super effective take.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm leaning towards the idea that rocks are small ground.
And wasn't ground also super effective?
No, but like
No,
rocks are
wait,
small
wait.
ground.
yeah, rocks are small ground. So small
So,
ground is
Slightly
not gonna be
less super effective.
What 1.5?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, isn't a rock just a giant grain of sand? Just
Food for thought.
So we got super effective
Yep.
from Ethan, super effective from Drax.
Yep.
super effective.
Let's lock it in.
all right.
2x. Okay, fighting versus normal. So we have a normal that's been trained in the way of martial arts or boxing.
I know kung fu.
I know Tekken.
Honestly, you could always fight back, even if you don't know martial arts, because those guys, they're bitches.
You
Hot
heard it
take
here
from Ethan.
first.
And of course, the best defense is just running away.
True. And that is a very normal thing to do when faced with a Muay Thai fighter with something to prove.
Can we have a normal type U-turn next year, please?
Just called runaway.
Yeah, just run away.
No, I reckon neutral, not very effective because you can just run away. Not very effective, I think.
Oh, that's a hot take.
That
So
is
the
a hot
opposite
take.
what it currently is.
Mm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I want to say neutral.
I like leaning into neutral.
Mm.
I disagree. It's super effective.
Super effective.
Beat up the normie.
So we have Ethan with not very, Drax with normal, and Dan with super effective. So I think the median is neutral.
Sure.
Okay.
Rubbish.
I think we'll agree to disagree here. Yeah.
Okay. Normal versus poison.
Oh, yeah.
Super
No,
effective.
no.
It's super
Yeah.
effective.
Easy.
If a Pokemon is like pre-evolved, like instant death.
Yeah.
True. Hold
Natural
on.
selection.
Because new status type drunk.
Yeah.
Isn't that just confused with
Mushrooms.
extra steps?
Extra step.
Swagger.
It's longer recovery, and if you get hit by water, it's instant sober.
Yes.
It's like mushrooms. If you realistically came across an Amoongus, it's like a 1/3 chance you either die, you have a lovely Italian meal, or you see God.
Just eat the Among Us.
Just eat the Among Us.
No, Among Us is.
We win well.
Eat the Among Us. Nothing.
Okay, speaking of eating things, normal versus bug.
Ooh.
My hot take is immune. Because bugs don't hurt normal things because they're bugs. They hurt them because they have poison.
Super effective.
Why?
People are afraid of bugs.
Yeah.
Bugs can bite and be painful. Spiders count as bugs in Pokemon canon. Bites, poison, just an overall bad time. Psychologically, it's super effective.
Psychologically. So, I mean, for fighting, we said you can just run away.
Mm-hmm. But bugs can fly.
But then they're a flying type.
We'll get there.
Bugs can crawl at you. Bugs can crawl at you.
Uh-huh.
Bugs
And they're
can-
everywhere.
I mean, what is it statistically? You're never more than 3 meters away from a spider?
Allegedly.
Super effective.
Okay, so Ethan's going for super.
Mm-hmm.
Drax.
I want to go. Nah, I reckon normal effective. Normal effective.
Normal effective?
It'd be more of a normal would do less to a bug. I feel that's the more. But like for this, it
Yeah.
would be
So normal is a defensive type.
I think, take like the average normal,
Normal.
because like some bugs do real big hurdy, some bugs do no hurdy.
This is true.
Mm.
Okay, let's lock it in at neutral. Okay, fairy versus normal.
Immune.
I don't believe in your psychics and your fairies and your hoodoo.
Okay, my hot take is
Don't care what your star sign is.
no, my hot take on fairy is that ye olde law of Fae is that they take normies into the Fae land.
Slip in shambles.
Slip in shambles.
Just because they don't exist doesn't mean they can't hurt you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So you want to go super effective?
I
is
want to
what
go
you're saying.
super effective. Fairy versus
Right.
normal is super effective is my
no one who has seen one has lived to tell the tale.
Yeah, I mean, where is Arthur? Where is the lady in the lake?
Super effective.
Somewhere in England. Probably dead at this point.
Probably. She's had to be around for a real long time. So my hot take is super effective as fairy versus normal.
I'm going to go immune because of the Peter Pan line. I do believe in fairies, and then the fairies existed. So if you don't believe in fairies, fairy does nothing.
Okay.
Ooh.
But for there to be a fairy type, you must believe that fairies exist.
Oh, but you say I don't believe in it. It doesn't exist.
So if we assume that it does exist, super effective.
What generation are we?
9.
In Gen 5, we're immune.
Drax, what's your fairy versus normal take?
I want to say immune because it's like I don't believe in fairies. It's the same kind of thing.
Okay.
But we're gonna get to the other ones. But I feel
I
like
am
it's-
down to go for consensus, and normal type is immune to fairy.
I'm sorry.
Damn you, Drax.
Getting the thumbs down from Sliff as well,
Okay.
ruining the type chart.
My immersion is ruined.
Normal versus dragon.
Immune.
Because dragons don't exist.
Because dragons don't exist.
in the immortal words of Dan Baguli, just eat the dragon.
What are you, donkey from Shrek?
Oh.
Oh, in the morning here. Waffles.
I vote super effective both ways.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
normal's like non-armored person, which like is just
True.
Correct.
gonna get eaten.
So we're saying that normal's immune to fairies, but super effective against dragon.
Dragons don't exist.
So Ethan's locking in immune as
Yes.
well.
Super effective both ways. I like that. Gun side.
Oh,
You said we're making this chart cursed.
we are. And that was the intention. Okay, I kind of like Ethan's dragons don't exist, so immune.
He's trying to outvote us, Drax.
Okay, so we're gonna take it to the tiebreaker.
All right.
VAR. Here comes Sliff.
Have you ever fought a dragon?
No.
Kimono dragon.
They're
I've
not
fought some
dragons.
bearded dragon.
They're monitors.
Bearded dragon.
Genus Varanus.
Oh,
What'd you call
he's
me?
got his series.
What did you say again? Super effective both ways?
Yeah.
Immune.
No, actually, I said immune.
Okay, normal versus dark.
Super effective.
But what is dark?
You mean
Yeah,
dark
3 a.m.
versus super effective.
Are we calling dark depression?
Sure.
Super effective.
4
times.
Dan can't weigh in because it looks like it's going to be super effective.
I have crippling depression.
Okay, dark is super effective against normal. Okay, this one's going to be quite important given that we live in Australia. Flying versus.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking neutral on this specific one.
Mhm.
No, I'm thinking super effective. Magpies, those swoops.
Those
Yeah.
swoops.
I mean,
Mm.
birds are generally speaking kind of nice. Magpies, they could, I don't know, have a special move or something that's super effective against normals. I don't know.
I mean, statistically, all flying things are dinosaurs.
Which are
Immune don't
essentially
exist.
dragons.
Dragons.
Just eat the KFC.
We eat the dinosaur.
Chicken.
Dino nuggies.
Look,
If you want to get specific, cassowaries can kill humans.
That is fair.
Yeah.
That is fair, but that is...
You'd argue that would be a fighting flying type, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not
Well, in that case, we need to loop back to water.
but of the hundreds of thousands of bird species, there's like 3 that would probably do it. Like emu, ostrich, cassowary would be big enough to like stomp humans.
What about a swarm of ravens?
Well, I am.
Have you
I am
ever
a-
watched
Nevermore.
I am a swole raven. Okay. Final verdict. Flying. Ethan.
I'm going to say neutral because pretty birdies are nice.
Drax.
I'm also going to say neutral.
I'm sticking with super effective.
I'm going neutral on this one as well. Sorry, Dan.
Let's go to the judge for this one.
Okay. Normal versus ghost. My hot take I've expressed specifically prior to recording, and I'm not going to repeat myself, but immune.
Yeah, I'm also going to say
Immune doesn't
Yeah.
exist.
doesn't exist. Don't
I
care
want to
about
be
your
contrary
horoscope.
about this.
By
but-
the same logic, they don't exist.
Okay. Normal versus steel.
Have you ever like slapped like solid steel?
Yeah. I mean, I used to play baseball with steel bats. So
There you
yeah.
go. Yeah.
They hurt.
Super.
Super.
Super effective against
Steel, super effective against normal.
That's yeah.
Yeah.
Baseball
Mhm.
bat to the face. Yeah.
Exactly.
We'll read
metal,
it.
just, yeah.
Yeah.
2x.
Yep.
And now the final one is normal versus tarot readers.
Immune.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the case could be made for super effective. You could just say something along the lines of Supreme Court gangbang.
I'm in.
What did I walk into?
Super effective.
That's the Patreon version of the podcast.
You can cut that out.
I might bleep it. I might bleep it. So psychic versus normal. I don't know. I don't think I have a hot take on this particular type matchup. Ooh,
I'm going to go super effective
super effective.
because I'd argue it could also be social engineering, and that's what tarot readers.
Ooh.
Like a mentalist thing?
Yeah. And social engineers just scam people all the time.
That's
Psychic
very-
damage,
yeah.
manipulation,
Exactly.
psyops. Yeah.
Psyops.
Mm,
I'm sticking with that.
Super effective.
Yeah. I think psychic damage is a real thing.
Drax.
Are we calling psychic damage also like mental damage?
Yeah,
Like,
that's what I mean.
like it's like a more like aggressive depression. Like
Advanced.
Advanced.
Imposed on you by another person.
then in which case super effective.
Nice. Okay, let's go through our new type chart for normal, famous for historically having one weakness and one immunity. So we are neutral to water. We take half damage neutral to normal. We take half damage from water. We take double damage from fire. We're immune to grass. Double damage from electric. Double damage from ground. Double damage from ice. Double damage from rock. Neutral to fighting. Weak to poison. Neutral to bug. Immune to fairy and dragon. Weak to dark. Neutral to flying. Immune to ghost. Weak to steel. Weak to psychic.
It's beautiful.
It's a tough
Love it.
world out there.
It is a tough world to be a normal Pokemon. I 100% agree.
I wish we all decided it was either going to be super effective or immune. That would have been funny.
It's a new version of cooked and cooking. Alive or dead.
Alive or dead. Okay, we will get that up on Twitter once we come up with a format that looks neato. We'll lean into our shit poster to create that for us.
It won't be very balanced, but guess what? Life isn't balanced.
No, that's the whole point of redoing this type chart. We're thinking real world. We're not trying to make a balanced competitive scene. We're trying to ruin it.
Hell yeah.
Okay, thank you for that, gents. Now, as promised, we have the man with the document joined us this evening, Drax. For those of us who don't know what the document is, would you like to explain the document, Drax?
Right. So when was it now? It would have been about, I think, 2017. So for a long time, because like I'd essentially come to almost every single event since I started joining Pokemon events.
The madman himself.
So there were events in which things happened. People wanted to know what happened. I would eventually have to be the one who would sit down, and it got to a point where it was a quote unquote story time with Drax, in which I'd have to go over things in the past and talk about it and whatnot. Because there's always questions. But it got to a point where, because there'd been so much over the years, my memory started getting patchy. And through websites being taken down, Facebook pages being taken down, a lot of other things like that, we started to lose a lot of the history of the Western Australian Pokemon community.
Do the forums still exist?
The forums do not
Really?
still exist.
They're gone.
And I thankfully was able to grab as much data that I could from them before they did disappear. Unfortunately, they just weren't. Yeah. So yeah, I compiled a Google Doc, and it basically has the entire history of the community from when it started to when. Well, it's currently until now, technically, but
Nice. Updated this evening, in fact.
yes, it will be.
Nice. So you have the timeline of the VGC Pokemon community in WA
That's correct.
since it became quote unquote formalized.
Yes.
So why don't we have some story time of the history of Pokemon video games in Perth?
Cool.
Amazing.
Where would you like to start, Drax?
Oh, geez.
You can start at the top if you want, or you can just pick your favorite.
Ethan, I think we need a jingle with story with Drax.
Oh, yeah?
Story with Drax, yeah.
I'll get my best people on it.
Thank you.
Now coming in with story time with Drax.
Beautiful. I love it. 10 out of 10. All right. In the beginning. So in the beginning, there was a website called Vooks. They a news website for Nintendo. It's locally run by a guy called Daniel Vukovic. He does Does Nintendo news. He's pretty good. He's still currently going. He's still active.
Nice.
Around 2006, 2007, he started running meetups in Carousel Food Court as DS meetups for people to play like Mario Kart and Metroid Hunters and whatnot.
All the classic.
Yeah. After the very first event got announced, and the only people who rocked up were a bunch of like really sweaty Diamond and Pearl players
Yeah.
keen to like actually meet up in person and practice, because right before that there was the 2007 Connection Tour, which was a month after the release of Diamond and Pearl. Level 50s.
I could not imagine grinding that out in a month.
Yeah.
In Gen 4.
Yeah, for anybody who's never played an older generation Pokemon game, it basically takes you a month to breed a single 5IV Pokemon, and that's not even guaranteed.
Yeah.
You only guarantee 2 IVs and no nature, or 1 IV and a nature, and the rest is all sheer luck.
My goodness.
It is a
So
struggle.
did Everstone not exist back then, or was it a different effect?
Everstone existed and gave you the nature,
Yeah.
but there was no Destiny Knot.
Oh, okay.
So instead, I believe it was a power item. Whichever type of power item bred down the stat, the singular stat.
One single guaranteed IV, and you had to choose between that and the Everstone.
Yes.
And
So
now we
it's
have
either-
bottle caps.
Yeah.
Praise be to Aaron.
Yeah. Whenever someone says that, like, oh, it's too hard to breed a Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet, like my war flashbacks, Vietnam flashbacks of like me just like crying in a corner because like my Electivire has like 27 defense. But yeah, so yeah, a lot of people prepared for that Connection Tour. It was a 2-day event run by Nintendo. It was 125 people both days, double elimination tournament.
Which is huge for Perth when you consider it wasn't until this year that we got top 64 points at our regionals.
Like we have definitely had some rather large turnouts for Pokemon in the past, and it's so like the community definitely exists. It's just trying to
Took a long time to bring us all together.
definitely. So yeah, it originally started with Fuchs. Kind of got taken over by an individual, and then the name of the community was Poke Eclectic from later on in 2007 onwards. We ran I think it was weekly, or was it fortnightly?
I think I remember it being fortnightly.
Yeah, fortnightly feels right. Fortnightly events on Saturdays.
Yeah.
And we went after like Carousel was way too noisy, way too crowded. We went to Southlands down south.
In the Southland.
Yeah,
Outfitting.
Yep. So we kind of jumped from food court to food court running meetups. So we went to Southlands. We went to the level 3 eatery in Carillion.
That's when I started coming.
Yes,
2009 or 10?
it was around then. Yeah.
15-year-old Ethan.
I've got pictures if anyone wants to see. Every time. Yeah. Then we went to the 140 William. They had a food court up there upstairs. We were like the only people there, and we basically took the pizza place to like the. Yeah, that we were their business.
We still weren't enough to keep the place afloat.
Sadly not. No. Fantastic food court though.
Yeah, great
it was
place.
empty, and we loved it.
After that, it was
Rain Square
Yeah,
for the
that's
longest
right.
time, and we were there until they did the renovations,
Mhm.
And then finally we did a few meetups for about a year or so in NX 100.
That's right. I remember that.
Yes, and obviously like we ran tournaments in Tactics,
Mm-hmm.
in the underground, very very iconic spot in Perth.
Yep. Card game shop.
Yes, they've currently moved location. Do check them out if you get a chance.
No longer underground.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
for the best.
Definitely for the best. Like I don't have a sense of smell, but I can feel it.
The dense air.
Yeah.
No, I love those guys. They're great. Yeah, so we ran tactics events there. We ran tournaments in Game City Espresso Bar, which now, do check them out. They're great.
Iconic institution.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fantastic place. A place called Cafe Myriad, which is a board game cafe.
Was a board game cafe.
Yeah. We were there until they were no more. Was it weekly or fortnightly there?
That might have been weekly.
Yeah, I feel like that was weekly. Weekly on a Tuesday night. It was basically $5 entry, and you got like your choice of a drink, which was usually like this massive
Chocolate milkshake. Yeah.
massive piss off chocolate milkshake that definitely cost more than $5.
Back when money was worth something.
Yeah, and we just like, because there was 4 Nintendo Wii U's setups with Smash. So we just play Mons and then like play Smash and board games afterwards. It was a very good, very healthy time for the community. And then finally Curtin Uni.
Yeah, the Dark Ages.
Yes.
The Fire Nation attacks.
What years were Curtin Uni? Because I ran some WCPL at Curtin Uni when Tactics got really busy.
Right. It was late 2016, early 2017.
That's
roughly
right.
the same
When the
time.
Switch first came out.
Yeah. And then the community was disbanded in 2018.
Yeah.
And that was that was when we dropped that as well. And then I believe the Curtin branch was renamed to EXP Share, which lasted for about a year. Or a little less than.
And then there was nothing for a few years after that. And then in 2020,
That's correct.
19 or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was a year and a half. I took a year and a half off.
Yeah.
It was the event stopped being about Pokemon. Which is, my goal's always been to try and build the Pokemon community, whether it be VGC, TCG, or Go. You know,
Rip
and I wanna-
Pokken.
Rest
what-
in peace, Pocket.
Still Pokken champion, 1v1 me.
1v1.
I'm the
So-
only man in a WA with a trophy. I will fight everybody.
So what was it that brought the community back? I mean, I know that the VGC regionals were still happening throughout that time, 2019, 2020, but they weren't the sole catalyst, as I recall.
That's correct. So there were a few people trying to run grassroots. But obviously back then, being a judge wasn't necessarily like you just do a test and you're in. You had to know people. And
The endorsement, as I mentioned at the top of the episode,
That's
was very
correct.
important back in that time.
very correct. Yes.
So you were one of the only people in town that had legacy qualifications, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And at the time when I had my break, I was very busy. I was basically area manager of the job that I was in. So every spare moment I had outside of work was managing the other stores.
Yeah, Jesus.
And it
brutal.
just broke me down. But thankfully, like, there were a few people in the community. Shout outs to Brendan Robeson for the work that he did. Like, I'm very, very grateful for trying to do grassroots tournaments in my absence. But yeah, it wasn't until, and it was an awkward thing as well, because like the regionals after Pokecollectic died, I felt like a phony, essentially. Like I was a man without a community. Like, and it wasn't until I got in. I was planning for 2020 regionals to be my last. I was going to turn around and be like, look, you know, it's very nice that you offer these things to me, but like I don't feel like I'm deserving of this job. And right before regionals, we had the OCIC, 2020 OCIC. And they turn around and were like, we want you for the OCIC. You know Pokemon, you know VGC. We need you. Shut up and come down.
Yeah.
Won't
You
take no for
will
an
come to
answer.
OCIC, Drax.
And yeah, like a few of the players who are from here flew over, obviously, and every single one of them were like, why aren't you like judge, like help the community, you know? And yeah, and that kind of really pushed me, because like I honestly felt like there wasn't really a community to, you know, I felt like my job was done really at that point, and that kind of really pushed me to go back and
It really truly wasn't.
And, I'm really grateful because the community that we have is filled with so many amazing people that
Yeah,
it would have been the biggest mistake of my life, I feel,
it's true.
leaving it and dropping it when I did, or when I was planning to.
My memory of the early years is patchy, but I remember it being filled with many, many difficult characters and community drama moments and things. And one of the things that has really struck me about the community that we have in the modern era is that we really don't have any of that element anymore. Like there are a lot of different personalities for sure, but everybody is exceptionally wholesome and gets on very well and are great at the game, and we all love each other, and it sometimes feels too good to be true.
I think to that point, back in the day before I took my first break, there were like various crisis chats on Facebook because that's where everything was.
Pokemon
And they
Crisis
were-
Australia.
Yeah,
yes.
Poke Crisis Australia. I think there was like a TCG specific one as well.
Mm.
And they were always full. They were never quiet. There was always something.
Yes.
And in our Discord server, that like crisis thread doesn't get used unless someone's putting in a joke or they have like an actual personal crisis that they're going through.
And we all rally around them.
And they need some
Yeah.
friends to help them out. Like that's the only use that it gets now. And I think I took a 6-7 year break or whatever it was. And that difference it's crazy to me that there was such a massive turnaround in the attitudes of people involved in the Pokemon community.
Yes, definitely. It's been a very long process.
It has. I mean, you and I, Drax, judged many events for people outside of the official Pokemon
That's
giving
correct.
up our weekends, and they were, on the surface level, they were fun, but on the bottom level, they were manic and chaotic, and we were left to solve problems that we shouldn't have to have solved.
Definitely
probably
above
makes-
a pay grade of $0.
Yeah,
yes.
above the $0 pay grade. But like that stuff probably made us better for running events currently.
Definitely.
Like, because that level of issues that we were involved in just does not exist anymore.
Correct. Yes. And it helps you with your problem solving. You're able to like identify these kind of issues before they become
Keep
issues.
abreast of them, yeah.
Yeah. Like it's definitely gone a long way from like me bringing a quite literally like intervention banner to tactics and being like, no, Chris Hansen, take a seat. Like no, it's
Can we bring those back for the Dondozo players?
Wait,
No.
did you actually have an intervention?
yes, I do. It's made out of cloth. It's hand drawn. It's beautiful.
This feels like it needs further explanation. Can you explain it without dubbing people?
I
in?
missed this at the time
No, I can't
No,
without dobbing somebody in.
because I wasn't the problem, to be
No,
fair.
you were never the problem.
I was never the problem. I was 13 or 14 when I first joined this community, but I was somehow never the problem.
No,
Amazing. You're a credit to our community, Ethan.
definitely.
Oh, thank you.
you and Chris Marr, at the very least.
Because I know if I had joined Pokemon when I was 13, I would have been a problem. Like, there is no doubt.
Mm. Well, I think that's one of the reasons what's really pushed me to make to run Pokemon events as well, because it's not just about us, like the 30-plus-year-old individuals like spamming like Dondozos and Kyogres.
Veterans Division
and
win.
Astro Barrage. But it's also like for the next generation, like so like in was it Black and White and X and Y, around that era, I was helping host weekly league events for TCG, and like we had a solid 24, I believe, on average attendance, and mostly kids, and that they had a really good time, and like watching that kind of like healthy environment, really kind of
Yes, unfortunately, that environment slowly disappeared.
Yes, the second I disappeared, so did
Yes.
the entirety of those events. Sadly.
Yes, and I think now the community that we're a part of, I think, has the most welcoming attitude
Definitely.
that it's had. We have young people. We've been through it before. We have people from every walks of life. We have straight, gay, trans, pan, non-binary, disabled, abled people in this community, and everybody is absolutely welcome. There's very minimal issues anywhere.
Definitely. And that's the way it should be, honestly.
Yes. Make it easy for us, people.
I think
Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter anything about you. As long as you sit down, as long as you can play Pokemon, that's the one thing that unites us all.
Absolutely. So that's the history of where we've been. What's around the corner? Or what's next in your notes? I haven't seen all of them. Drax.
There's
do continue the
There's
story.
quite a scroll left.
I was going to say that was a pretty surface level history. Like,
I could go into further, but we don't have time.
No, we have plenty of time to go through. Let's continue through your notes.
talk
Good
some
sir.
highlights.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, we just hit X and Y, right? There's still more to come.
X and Y. My goodness, I love those games. All right, we want to go into history, do we? All right,
Let's do it.
Oh,
Let's deep
goodness.
dive.
Let's pull a highlight.
All right.
We have complete retro been here since he was a teenager, Ethan.
Yes,
Been around forever, but new to the community, Dan.
That's correct.
And OG,
You
but
got
took a
like
big
random
break.
photos of me in there. And it's like, wait, what?
I was going to say, I think was it 2016
Yeah.
regionals?
Yeah.
Yes. I've got a photo from 2016 regionals. Now, for anybody here who is
Perth
not
Town Hall?
aware, no. Was it 20? Was that 2016?
I think 2016 was when we had
Oh,
TCG
yep, sorry, I'm
and
thinking-
VG combined in the town hall.
Round tables.
Round tables was
2017. might have been,
2017 was the first when we had
2016 was the Duxton basement.
That was 13.
13.
Was it really?
Yeah.
No, 2014.
2013 was the
Hang
basement
on,
tournament
I've
because
got
that was
the
the
things
first
here.
full year of WCPL, and we all rocked up to VG thinking that it was the easier game.
No, that's right. It was Perth Town Hall. I remember because that was the GS Cup medal.
Yeah.
2014 was was Duxton. I've got it right here. Yeah, in the basement of the Duxton Hotel. It was the first regionals championships Perth ever got. Yeah.
What a
Ran by-
venue.
Ran by Nintendo of Australia and hosted by Jamie, our main man. We miss him. It was quite an interesting tournament. It's very
Double elim. I'm sorry, I can speak English. Double elimination.
double elimination because it was Nintendo, because they were like, whatever types of tournaments can you run? What do you mean? Like
we need to whittle down the field somehow.
Challenge only has 2 modes, and we don't want to deal with people outside of 2 rounds of this.
I remember not being prepped for that regional at all. I just pulled 6 random mons out of Drax's box.
Yeah.
And I went 0-2 drop.
Phrasing.
For the content.
Okay. So I had a team crisis, full Chris Marr level team crisis.
Oh, no.
I decided 2 days before the 2014 regionals that I was going to run it was Trick Room team with Gothitelle, Liepard, I think, and a few other Pokemon. It was terrible. Like I normally run like
Lipard. Was
Yeah.
it assist?
maybe. You expect anything better from me? My
No.
goodness. No. Yeah. And I would literally, while we're in line for registration, I hatched a shiny Amoongus. Fungus, sorry. Amoongus. Hatched a shiny Fungus in there, and that's the same Amoongus that I use ever since, because it's got horrible stats. I love it.
It's not horrible stats.
But yeah, round 1, I was on the big screen. And as Joel was saying, like the community's definitely grown a lot over the years. Back then, it was not uncommon for players to like boo and heckle and be an absolute menace.
Yeah.
So my first game was basically tilted off the edge of the earth from like some local players who shall not be named.
That's when they didn't give us headphones as well, so you could
They didn't.
you
No.
could hear them heckle you.
interact with
You're
it.
like, shit, why'd you do that?
So here I am in my Professor Sycamore outfit, like looking up at Jamie, like, and Jamie's just like giving me a shrug, like, what do you want me to do?
What do you want me
Like,
to do, my guy?
yeah, like we're here to give everyone a fun time. I'm like, that's not a fun time for me though. And needless to say, the submarine sunk because everyone knew what assist was.
Submarine sunk.
Other than that, it was a great time.
That
though.
regional
Yeah.
was a mess. As I recall, Alistair Sandover won that one.
I was gonna gloss over that, but we can talk about this.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a good story.
So for anybody who wasn't there, right? Yes. So Alistair won that event. However, in the finals, I believe, his game corrupted.
Excuse me.
The save file just
His-
bricked,
Yes.
What?
Yep. And like
How did they
all-
rectify that?
all the Nintendo reps are like shitting their pants. They're like, "What do we do in this situation? It's never happened before."
Yeah.
So what they decided upon, which we will never see in a regionals ever again, because we have like real judges now, is they allowed him to play on with a friend's copy of the game, provided that the 6 mons were the same and everything else matched. Which
we had to write stats down. And
we
we could,
didn't.
We did. It was just.
In Gen 6, you didn't put the stats down.
Yeah, I remember that. You didn't have to.
It
Yep.
was just the Pokemon items and moves, right?
That's correct. So as long as that was correct, so
Oh man.
so
okay.
theoretically, because now
He
bear
knew
in
what
mind,
his matchup was.
yeah, bear in mind, like this is back in the day before OTS, so
Yeah.
scouting was a very real thing. There'd be groups of players who would go around and basically figure out like what half the players are running.
Yeah.
Which was no exception, even though like the Duxton was an incredibly cramped venue.
Yeah.
So like it was arguably very easy to have like re-EV trained. I mean, he didn't, but like yeah,
Yeah.
It's possible.
would not have gotten away with that in the modern era.
No, that's pretty wild.
Mhm.
Like, oh, we actually need to finish this. Just find 6 mons that are the same.
What would be the ruling on that nowadays? I mean, before rental teams.
Game loss.
Just game loss?
Well,
It'd be
DQ, I guess.
DQ,
Yeah.
there'd be
So
no
you don't
continue.
have a game to
Be-
play it on.
Fucking devastating for a finalist, but
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
everything-
what do you do?
because your OTS now contains your Switch profile name and your trainer.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
true.
So if you're
If the save file is unsalvageable, then
yeah, you'd have to drop.
Like for the big, like proper regionals, they have the rental teams. They
Yeah.
play it on the third party ones.
Yeah,
So
because it's like the third party's like player 1, player 2,
Yeah.
Victory Road. I can't remember what else I've seen, but yeah,
So theoretically, like, there's a workaround nowadays.
Yeah.
but
yeah.
there would have most
But
definitely
in
been a DQ.
2014, wow,
Yep.
that, that's wild. I
That's
did not
me.
know that.
All right, tell us another one, Dad.
Well, scrolling up from May 10th to April 27th, I actually have a Pokemon Day that was run in Coburn, if you recall.
There, I do recall actually,
I've
because
got
that's the day that I lost my limited edition Pikachu 3DS, and no one could ever find it. I can't imagine why no one was able to find my like $500 3DS that was lost. I'm confident it was stolen out of my bag, but that's another story.
We may never know.
Actually, it's not even another story. I just told the whole story. Like, it was shit.
Yeah, it was an absolute mess. So the individual running it basically told us that there was a cap,
Yeah.
and I'm like, great, that's excellent.
And
then
they
he-
didn't stick to it.
then he received more money. And he's like, well, maybe we don't need a cap, and I'm like, no, we need a cap. We definitely
insert Mr. Krabs clip.
Yeah.
What was your motivation? Money.
Yes. So if anyone ever wants to see the photos of them, they just have to come to an event. But basically, there was a line that went like all the way out the door.
oh my.
It was horrendous.
That's right. I do remember, running that event with you. It was
And this is before I really had my judge voice that I have now.
Yeah.
So like me like straining like my voice, just trying, hoping and praying that I'm like
Taken seriously, effectively.
yeah.
Gotta have.
Um,
What were we? We were like 23, 24 at that time.
Yeah,
as
something
well.
like that.
It's like hardly taken like seriously by the people around us.
Especially not me in a fake lab coat and swishback hair. No. Yeah, that was quite a, and that was the same kind of format that was popular with that group.
Yes,
with those
first
events.
round singles, second round doubles,
Yep.
third round triples,
That's correct.
fourth round was multi was
So
a
we
final
can't
spot.
no, yeah. So I believe it was rotation. and I
Rotation
think
battle.
for that one, so it was double elimination, and I believe for that one we went back to I think singles or doubles.
Yeah.
And then yeah, it was so difficult though because like so many people lost interest, pissed off.
Yeah.
Like went for a shop, came back like half an hour late. Where's my opponent? Like no, you're
you're
out.
like, you have lost and you are no longer part of this tournament.
Yep. Have a nice day. Thank you for your $10. Yeah. So we basically finished. I think it was like 6 or 7 o'clock at night.
It was late.
Yeah.
And that's when
Um,
Coburn was far away.
That's correct. Yes. I mean, we made do, but like it was horrendous. But only the beginning of those kinds of tournaments. Well, no, technically
As
not the
they say,
beginning.
what
but-
doesn't kill you
Oh my god,
makes you a
Yep.
better judge.
Yes. Yes.
10 years later.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah, the next event that they had that particular group had, I think we had
Was that the 2-day in Subiaco?
that's correct. That was the first of their Subiaco events.
Yeah.
Yeah, the quote unquote Pokemon Day that became a Pokemon weekend.
Yeah.
So that was 125, I believe, approximately.
Yeah, because we
players.
were
Ads.
running VG and TCG
That's correct.
concurrently,
That's correct.
which was
I can't remember how many we got for TCG in that
not
one.
as many.
Yeah.
This is like in the modern day, TCG outweighs VGC 2-1,
Mm.
and I think back in those days, VGC outweighed TCG like 4-1.
Mm.
It was massively different to what it is currently.
Mm. Yeah, no, that tournament was an absolute dumpster fire. So for anybody, yeah, right. So that 125 odd approximate people. During registration, a player ended up having a seizure, and
no.
every single player around immediately got their camera out and were like, "Lol, ha ha ha."
Back in the days when we didn't understand what
Any kind of social etiquette.
common decency.
Yep. Thankfully, my cousin-in-law was there, and he's a trained nurse, and immediately like went straight to it.
Yeah.
And yeah, we dealt with that pretty quickly and pretty effectively. Thankfully, the guy was all right, but it was
Jesus.
still a horrible thing to have to like midway through like dealing with, because we were doing it on challenge at the time, and like he was like
Yeah.
trying to sync up challenge and
Yeah, trying to set up the
Yeah.
2-stage event correctly in challenge. Yeah.
yep, it's horrible.
Helping a guy
Um,
recover from a seizure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, trying to yell at staff to like call an ambulance and yell at players to stop being children.
Yeah. Stop filming someone
Yep.
during the
Jesus
worst part of
Christ.
their life.
Yep. So again, it was the singles, doubles, triples, like flip a coin. That's the format.
Was that the year that we got to top 4 and we paired first and fourth versus second and third in a multi-battle, and first place got paired with effectively a child
Hmm.
and had a full-on tantrum when they lost the multi-battle and stormed out of the venue?
Yes, that's correct. That was that one. Yes.
Oh, man.
Oh, that was also the event where there was a really bad storm that day, and behind us there was a leaking roof that went directly onto a heater that caught fire.
So there was a seizure. There was an electrical fire.
Yeah.
A storm.
And tantrums.
Yep. by the end of it, like there was no amount of alcohol that could save me. It was a horrible time.
The armies of heaven and hell were converging.
Yep.
They should have been signs for the future, honestly.
And then that individual who ran that event was like, let's make this like a bi-yearly. Like
Yeah,
every
I think
6
that went
months.
well.
Yeah. The next one of those events, it was 250 people. I was running it solo.
That's
the
twice the
VG
numbers.
side. You were TCG next to me. Thank God I had someone as support.
Yeah. I think my it was fiance at the time.
Yes.
Was helping us with that event as well.
So that was the Safari Zone event.
Yeah.
So the VG event was on day 2 of it, right?
Yeah.
So for anybody who wasn't there, we had day 1, then there was like a bowl, like a night event. Shout outs to Lionel Price, amazing like person, gave I think it was a $200 bar tab to anybody who's interested in VGC who wants to like party with the boys.
Yeah.
I may have taken a bit of that myself to prepare myself for the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then rocked up day 2. Hungover. I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where like you've drunk that much where everything's in a sepia tone and like all sound is like everything sounds underwater and you just your head's pounding. You don't care about anything.
I think that was the day that I had a 6-year-old rock up with. We were in black and white format for TCG, and I had a kid rock up with his quote-unquote Pokemon deck, which was just 60 random heart and gold Pokemon cards.
I love it.
No energy, no trainers, just
based.
just 60 illegal Pokemon cards. And I have to tell a 6-year-old that he can't play TCG because his mum didn't go online figure out. And then his mum's berating me. Well, you should just make it work. It's like, this is before Karen existed, but retrospectively.
Oh no, they've existed from the dawn of time.
Well, the phrase "you are a Karen."
Yes.
Retrospectively, it was a case of Karen, fuck off, and like learn about your child's hobby before you just rock up and want me to teach him.
Oh, right.
And that continues to now.
So speaking of that event, so it was a bowl, right? Drinking.
Yeah.
So
in a sports club.
There was an individual who asked me for a dance, which I gladly like offered, platonically.
Yeah.
Gentleman.
Yep. Alex is like next to me, my partner. Like she's like, "Hell, are you doing?"
I just want to dance.
Yeah, I'm just like, sure, why not?
Try to have a good time.
Yeah. So we have one dance. I cannot dance. For anybody who doesn't know, it's very got the dad bod. I've got the dad dance moves. It's pretty
Glorious.
bad. After one dance, the lights come on, and they announce a giveaway thing, like a little event where you have to find these little Pokemon figurines, like really dodgy, like dollar shop Pokemon figurines. Hidden around in the ball where the ball was held, and whoever got the most basically like won a prize. I found a couple of really shitty, like I found a little Ella kid, I think, and I was really happy over that. That's all I cared about. And then I sat down and like continued drinking and laughing and the individual that I danced with found a slacking, and then later on Facebook decided to post, thanks for the amazing time, with my sexy slacking Drax cable. So not only did I wake up to the hangover of a lifetime, I see this post and my God, I was
New group
Traumati-
chat nickname unlocked.
Traumatized does not even begin to bless that individual. Anyway, yeah, 250 people. It was absolute nuts.
Did you run double elim that
It
day?
was double elimination.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's the only way you're going to do
so-
that effectively. Holy
Yep.
cow.
Yep, double elimination. Every round was a different format, so singles, doubles, triples, rotations.
My God.
Couldn't change your Pokemon. Half the people didn't get that memo. There were a few DQs. A few very angry players who like, why can't I use Mega Gengar in this tournament? Ooh. Like, because you used Mega Kangaskhan in the last round. Doesn't matter. It was a day. It was a day.
That sounds like a fun meme format.
Yeah, no,
We-
we're not rehashing.
Same
that.
team, different formats.
And
yeah.
like the finals is Smash Bros. Pokemon characters only.
We're trying to limit the Incineroar, not build more of them. Oh,
This is
man.
where we need to have like a multi-format Pokemon day where you like your best of 3 is like you choose games.
yeah, yeah.
So you can have like TCG, VG, Pogo,
Pokken.
Pokken.
but yeah, that was that event. And so if anyone asks what the biggest Pokemon event in Perth was, it was sadly that one.
Does that record stand?
Yes.
I mean, for VGC,
Yeah,
Yeah.
for VGC.
I
Yeah.
would say Regionals 2024 was the biggest combination event
Mm.
that
Definitely.
we've had.
And like, I,
I
feel
think
like
what
they've-
did we must have hit 400 combined across
yeah, something
three
like
games.
450, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty big.
higher than what was TCG? It was like 200 because we got day 2, so it must have been
TCG
256.
was just over day 2.
Yeah, so it must have been
And
260.
VGC had, I think it was 180 or we were about 40 off day 2.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, and then Go had their usual 20ish.
Maybe TCG was quite. Yeah, I think they were just over day 2, but let me double check.
What about Kings Park 2016?
Oh,
Oh, my
man. I remember the grass being dead.
Oh, yeah.
We should talk about Pogo 2016 because that's the
Yes.
closest the Pokemon community has been to world peace.
Things were
crazy.
simpler.
You'd walk down the street, you'd meet people who you see someone on a phone, hey, you've got Pokemon Go. And then they're like, what team are you? Team check.
Like Instinct, obviously.
Yes.
It's the only
Excuse
choice.
me, Valor Gang.
I was Mystic.
Okay, well, we're excommunicating two of them.
See, Drax and I know what's up.
Have we got room for one more? I want to talk about the 10th anniversary.
The 10th. Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Let's finish off today with the 10th anniversary. Let's dive.
This was during the Curtin University era, the Dark Ages,
That's correct.
when Pokecollectic was helmed by a bunch of admins and leaders who didn't really know Pokemon and didn't particularly care, and were trying to divest and expand and grow and monetize.
Yeah. So basically, they saw the success of said other group making like convention-sized events, and were like, we want to turn Pokecollectic into that. We want to become a non-for-profit business that's essentially a profit business for themselves. Continue. Sorry.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
So they managed to secure a whole bunch of funding from the University Guild at Curtin University, as I recall, and I remember this tournament fairly clearly because it was at the University Bar at Curtin.
That's correct.
And there was a Pokemon tournament there. There was also a concurrent cosplay competition.
That's correct.
The prize for that was, I
A sewing
believe,
machine.
a sewing machine.
A $400 sewing machine.
Yes.
Nothing to scoff at.
Mhm.
Damn.
And there was a Pokemon tournament as well, and I remember this clearly because the first place prize for that was a brand new at the time Nintendo Switch.
Yep.
And I won this tournament, and I still use that Switch to this day.
Please get a new Switch.
Yeah, it's on its last legs. I'm hanging out for Switch too. But no, the fun thing about this tournament was because the people who put it together, and in particular the woman who was sort of more or less running the shop at that
Madam
point. Sorry,
President,
Drax.
yes.
Madam President.
Yes.
Didn't know jack about VGC or the Pokemon landscape at all. Decided it was best to make the format for this 3v3 Battle Spot singles
Yes.
at the time
A format that's completely like
removed.
alien to anybody who's played Pokemon
Mhm.
since 2009. Yes.
It was not alien to me. See, Poke Eclectic, and at its beginnings in Generation 4, when we were still hanging out in the food courts and stuff, the format at that time, before VGC really started to grow legs and take off, was 3v3 singles. It was very basic and just kind of using what the in-game rules sort of had available to us at the time.
So the reasoning behind that was because the 2007 Connection Tour event was 3v3 singles. We assumed that any subsequent event would be 3v3 singles as well. So we were always preparing for the next big event.
That's it. And it did eventually turn out to be doubles, and that's another story. But after the group started to kind of latch onto doubles and start to get into that
Kicking and or screaming.
Yeah.
Yes.
it took me longer to kind of come around to that, and I still kind of like
same thing we happened with OTS.
Yes.
yeah,
Except for worse.
Yeah, and it took me a while to sort of catch up with the herd, and I still like yearned for the golden days and all of that. So I was playing 3v3. I was mad at Smogun for banning Aegislash, so I took it onto the battle spot ladder. It was one vote, man. Yeah, it probably did deserve it, but that Pokemon is fun, and it's still to this day one of my favorites. Anyways,
Where's it now?
Where is it now?
Exit hell. Yeah. Anyways, I was running Battle Spot for many years through Gen 6 and Gen 7. It was Sun and Moon format at the time.
Yes, that's
and
correct.
I had this gorgeous Battle Spot team, Tabu Koko, Golisopod. Aegislash was in there. I was running like full physical defense with a weakness policy for Mega Kangaskhan. Fantastic team. And I managed to win this tournament and walked away with a brand new Nintendo Switch paid for with university money.
Yep, that I'm 99% certain they didn't pay back.
No. It was fantastic. I mean, the backlight on that Switch has never worked out of the box. I never took it back under warranty because I was already like...
Free, damn it.
Yeah, I was already like 150 hours deep into Breath of the Wild, so I just wasn't heading that back.
That's why your screen's always so dark.
Exactly.
It's a strategic thing, you know? Like, can't screen peek a screen you physically cannot see.
Yeah, I can't see it, you can't see it. I'm playing off of sound. It's fantastic, but no, that event was less of a mess than some of the ones in Poke Eclectic's history, but it was pretty emblematic of the time, I think.
That's correct. We wanted a really big... Oh, no, sorry. We did 3v3 singles because it being the original format. It wasn't because they didn't know any better.
10th anniversary, go back to roots, kind of.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's correct.
Excellent. I'm glad.
Yes, but yes, you're right. They had absolutely no idea about anything competitive, but they still demanded to be TO and judge of it. And I just sat there in a corner, like drinking, and just like watching the chaos.
That is an appropriate reaction.
Yeah, that was probably. I mean, there were other regionals with a screen, but that event had a screen, and our current regionals don't.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Give it time.
Give it time. Look, we're
Wolfie down under. Hashtag.
Wolfie goes down under, or like I've said in the past, we will work on it here at the O2 drop. We will work on that if we have to.
Brilliant. If ESL lets us.
If Pokemon Go can hire out space to get commentary, then I don't see any reason why VG can't. Like we can push for this.
That's right, because they had what's his name, like Pogo Steve or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
The Australian cast.
Debbie was casting as well.
Nice.
Community leader.
We could do that. O2 drop Twitch.
We'll set it up. Look, I think that's a good spot to leave it there with the 10th anniversary of the community. Drax, thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
The
very
spiritual father.
Yes.
The sexy slacking himself.
We will invite you back. There are many more stories to be told about this community and its history.
We have scratched the surface, like not even removed an atom layer of skin for the stories of this community.
I have seen a lot in my time.
Was it? Please, sir, I'm tired. So yes, thank you very much for joining us, Drax. We really do appreciate it. And thank you to everyone at home for taking the time to listen to us. We appreciate it and would love for you to join us again. Don't forget you can follow us on Twitter at the02drop_VGC. And don't forget to follow us and review us on your favorite listening app. If you're from Perth, definitely give us a shout out in person. And be sure to check out the O2 Drop community section in the WAVGC Discord. Until next time.